Hi, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast. I'm Peter Heine Nielsen, and I'm joined by Grandmasters Jan Gustafsson and Laurent Fressinet. Tell me, how has life been since our last episode?
Go ahead,
you talked to him. Talked to him. This was a weird campaigning voice already.
Yeah, so Jan and myself are doing the same stuff while he's commentating in English for the candidates. I'm commentating in French. You just have like 50 times more listeners than me, so I'm much more free to say whatever crap I want. But I'm enjoying the process. It's very interesting every day. It was a bit long when I would say Alireza tried to win at all costs. But overall, it's great fun and very interesting. And I'm a bit, of course, surprised by the... by what's happening there, but we'll talk, I guess, about that in depth. How is life with Judith, Jan?
No, it's fun to do the candidates. It feels different than a normal super tournament because there's so much more at stake, and you can see people are trying harder, are more motivated, playing different openings. So there's a lot of stuff happening, but of course it's also completely crushing me. Like 6 hours of thinking about chess without an engine every day. Whenever I hang a pawn, you it says, yeah, but then this. And yeah, it's rough, but it's also interesting. I quite enjoy watching the thing and the action. But every day, of course, we start at 3. Quite often they play till 9, 10, and then I just pass out on the couch. I'm not fit enough for this.
Yeah, and actually Magnus made it much more interesting in my opinion, because even if Nepo is doing incredibly well now, this, especially if Nepo wins, this second place matters so much, and it's actually very close. So we'll have some kind of intrigue till the very last minute, I guess. Did we just lose Peter?
No, I'm still
here. Sorry.
So I'm just waiting for some of you to take a breath so I can come in and tell you about my life.
But we know your life. It's on Twitter.
No, actually not fully. I mean, I normally tweet from the golf course and stuff like this and such. So no, tweeting can be done more or less every place, I would say. But, well, I'm kind of over my jet lag from the trip from the States, which is a great thing and such. But and now my family from Denmark has been visiting since, so it's very much been family time, I would say, which has been good with sort of kids and at the beach and stuff like this, and generally been pleasant and relaxing, I would say. But of course, I live in Lithuania, which sort of was quite on the fret recently due to this Kaliningrad crisis. I don't know how much you saw about that and such. And there was with my wife being very much involved in politics, of course, this has been a huge stress factor in many ways. But overall, so far is good, discounting sort of some potential disasters in that way, I would say.
So you're as well keeping an eye, of course, on Twitter mainly and on the games?
Of course, I'm following chess a lot. I mean, I mainly care about the openings as always and such, and try to follow that, try to understand and sort of update if their knowledge differs from our team's knowledge and stuff like this. So this is, of course, very interesting.
Did we check this Knight H4 that Fabi played against Nepo?
I honestly don't remember. is the answer.
It was said during the show, so...
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, for me, in my case, it's true. In your case, it's of course not true, because you checked it immediately. It's for sure. But
we honestly can't remember, and we also have no way to check.
Yeah, well, I would. That's not fully true in a way, but
I was too lazy to check, of course. Yeah. But you are not, Peter. I'm sure.
I haven't checked it yet, I will admit. Right now, both my boys at 4 and 7 has sort of summer holidays from institution/school, and my wife is busy with the sort of parliament. I have extra sessions here and such, so it's busy days in that way. So in many ways, it's just relaxing to sit and talk to you guys.
How does you not having 5 minutes to check something add up with the 5 hours spent on the golf course every day. We need to know more details about your life.
Yeah, I get your point. But actually, this I noticed before the last match, that of course computer preparation is very important. But for instance, that point, when you I was, let's say, swimming at some point in a local gym, your subconscious starts producing more ideas. And that is quite interesting, in my opinion. I mean, some things that the engines would not show, you start questioning with yourself. And I think a couple of interesting plots about move orders, I remember I found while swimming and such.
Wow.
But, anyway, I don't know if we're giving away.
So you are just
Magnus is blessed to have you coming up with ideas while swimming.
Yeah. Do you charge Magnus when you are swimming?
I charge him for full time. So that would be, I guess, that would be a yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
so you're productive even when
should I deduct it? I don't know.
Swimming, sleeping, golfing, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, in a way. But yeah, you sound like I'm not allowed to have any kind of free time myself. But anyway,
I heard some.
No, I'm just.
I heard some people being shocked that you claimed he was your owner. Like, have to go lunch with my owner. That was in the previous episode, which was a bit weird, I would say.
You can. Yeah. Well, there's different ways to profile that.
But Laurent, tell us about your life before we get to the candidates. We need some more details. When do you get up? How's your love life? Like, how are things in general?
Okay.
Nothing.
I mean, it's for you, Peter.
Of course I did.
I think he asked about Laurent.
It's me.
Of course.
Oof.
You're
asking about my love life, and when I wake up?
Yeah, those are the topics I'm interested in. Like the other part, I know. Like you start commenting candidates at 3.
Yeah, so that's basically. I'm trying to find a guest because I'm on my own to commentate. So every day I have to find a nice guest. Well, and that's I'm not planning to talk about my life in general, my love life. I don't know. Yeah, it's complicated. So, but I'm not doing much more than that. I mean, I'm pretty busted after the show. I mean, it's like 6-7 hours straight, and I'm mainly alone. Most of the show, I'm alone. So this is tough. I'm talking to the chat, of course, but
you're both guys mentioning this incredible hard 6-hour work days, right? You understand how it is for normal.
No, but okay, it's tough because you have to say something
straight
in front
is
of
very
the camera.
different. Also, it's not 6 hours. I stream for 3-4 hours after that and do my highlight video. I am talking to cameras 11 hours a day because I have so much wisdom to share.
Yeah, no, it's
thanks.
No, and also
great deal.
We have some kind of studio. I guess it's the same for Jan. For me, it's incredibly hot inside. So I mean, the working conditions are not great during summer actually. But I'm not doing much more. I'm watching movies. I mean, in the evening. I mean, I'm not doing much more than commentating. Let's say.
Right.
Okay, I'm in charge of this episode, and I say we have to talk about chess now. So we jump to round 4. Nepomniachtchi beat Firouzja. This was a big thing, right?
Yeah, that was a bit surprising because, well, first of all, Alireza played a knight-off, which is a bit surprising against Nepo. That's not the first choice because Nepo played knight-off all his life as black. But he seemed to catch him in the opening. And then Nepo, as usual, played some logical moves very quickly. And Alireza was out of book. And he started to think forever. Well, it's what he does in this tournament. He's clearly lacking something, probably confidence. And he thought forever and made very quickly couple of huge mistakes. And there were no way back. It was punished in a great way, actually, by Nepo. So very poor game from Alireza. Very big disappointment, of course, for his fans. But from Nepo point of view, I mean, it's just a perfect game, actually. I don't know what you guys think about that.
We should maybe set the table before we get into the individual rounds. So at the time of recording, 9 rounds have been played in the Candidates tournament, which is the tournament to determine the next challenger to the world champion. If the world champion, Peter will tell us at the end of the episode, if the world champion will play in the next world championship match, and if not, then the first 2 finishers of this Candidates tournament will play the next world championship match. Do we? Yeah, we can give the standings, right? People know. After round 9,
I think so, yeah.
Jan Nepomniachtchi is in the lead, a full point ahead of Fabiano Caruana. There's 5 rounds to go. And yeah, we can talk about the action in the game so far and then give some outlook about what's about to happen. So Laurent, your boy Ali Reza.
Such a great professional. It was very clear. No? Yeah, good to put everything into context.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a good summary.
Good summary.
And I would like to also have an admission of sort of getting something completely wrong. Before the tournament, I said that there will barely be any Sicilians. Everybody will play E4, E5. That has actually turned out incredibly wrong. I mean, there's been a bunch of Sicilians for this kind of level, I would say. And this was one of them. And I don't know if Laurent wanted to sort of hide our knowledge of the opening, then he did it very well, at least. I think it was a very sharp line, but Ali Reza played this very surprising move at move 15, correctly, right? And it's unclear to me if Nepomniachtchi knew how to react, but what was strange was that it was was Firusha who played a very surprising sideline, but then he seemed to either misremember or mix up something quite soon after.
Neither of this old main line with bishop e3, f3, where there were a lot of debates in the old days. Ali Reza played the surprising move bishop to c4, when in the old days they played a4 or bishop takes b3. Bishop c4 has been played quite a bit in correspondence games, so it's not completely unknown. But I don't think Nepomniachtchi knew, but maybe it helped him. He played in a natural way. He didn't want to put his knight in the corner on a1, which is the main computer lines. He played king to b1, knight to c1. That got Ali Reza out of book. Then Ali Reza, made a mistake with his move bishop takes f1 down the stretch.
That was... bishop takes f1
Helps
was really
white
weird
develop,
because... it just develops white, and that was probably, you're right, a good point, that it was a crucial mistake. I thought he would go king h8 or something, because in the other line, in the main line, it was kind of the move king h8, so it looked very similar to me than the main line, so he could have found, but something went wrong. It's very, very hard to say what exactly, but it's a surprise. But in another hand, I mean, it's he had the surprise value, but it's a very difficult position to play for both sides, and Nepo has such a great experience in such sharp night off, mainly as black, of course, but maybe it was actually, I don't know if it was a wrong choice for Ali Reza, but it was a very risky one for sure. And it turned out to be a disaster, simply.
But that was overall his strategy, He tries to surprise in the openings. He clearly has done a lot of work. You can see a bunch of ideas, but he's trying to play very, very sharply. And it feels like once in a while he's surprising himself. Even if opponents are out of book, they make some other move, and then he has a position where maybe the computer says zeros or whatever. But it's very, very complicated for him to play. And it hasn't really worked out. I'm thinking even in the first game against Rajabov, he played some sharp prep very, very quickly. Then he was struggling a bit in the game he lost against Fabi. He played this fantastic move, Queen d3 against the Catalan, and it surprised Fabi, this 6 Queen d3. But Fabi just reacted in the most natural way. And then Ali Reza, I would guess, mixed something up down the stretch on move 11.
But it was a different stuff, because Queen d3 is just a move, I guess, to get a game, and you are not pretending to burst your opponent from the very beginning. Just you are hoping to be a bit better and to get a playable position.
Yeah, fair enough. That wasn't super sharp, but it was still trying to surprise, and it didn't work out.
No, I would say that in these two games, well, maybe Firusha got what he was aiming for. It just turned out to not be very good for him, perhaps because, Caruana and Nepomniachtchi either is more experienced, you can almost say, or that they played better in a way. Somehow that, I don't know, maybe Alireza is as young as he actually is in some terms, right? That maybe it seems a bit too early for him to manage this.
You really think it's a problem of openings or something? I think it's just in poor shape. I mean, he's just playing poorly. So whatever he plays, I don't think it would make a big difference. I mean, when you're in poor shape, making bad decisions, you can play Berlin, you can play Najdorf, you can play whatever you like. I mean, at some point, you will end up into troubles.
I kind of agree with you with that he's playing like his choices is based on him being in great shape and being the better player. And if one of these two things are not true, well, then it backfires horribly in a way.
Yeah, right? You mean that he should play, in that case, he's in bad shape, he should play more solid and...
Well, if he's in bad shape, then pushing a great fight where he doesn't necessarily have an advantage, except that he can outplay opponents, it doesn't work at all if you can't outplay them while they outplay you.
Time, right? I mean, I was completely shocked by... I mean, not shocked.
Well, this is the chicken chess club,
by his
right?
time management. I mean, this is just terrible. I mean, sometimes he's just thinking 40 minutes for a move.
Also, with hindsight,
against Caruana, I mean, in some random positions, and he's going for this rook takes d7 after 40 minutes think. I mean, like, okay, this is just insane what he's doing. Actually.
But I know this phenomenon, and I think it's lack of practice mainly. Like, he doesn't trust his hand. Because he hasn't played a lot the last half year. I think he only played one classical tournament, which didn't go well. And then you start doubting yourself, and you spend 40 minutes on a move. And it doesn't improve. You can see with Nepomniachtchi, he's trusting his hand. He's playing very, very quickly, even when he's surprised, which to some extent he always does. But you can also tell who's in shape and who isn't. And with Alireza, this strategy, not to play for half a year and focus, I guess, mainly on opening preparation. Seems like it hasn't worked out at all. I'm not sure if it's age or inexperience, but the strategy clearly didn't work out.
Yeah. So that's how. So Nepo just collecting the point, and then. So we should move on, yeah, to some. We already talked about Caruana who beat Firoja. Actually, it was a very, very good game from Caruana point of view. I mean, just a perfect game because he faced his prep, reacted quite logically, and then when he got the chance to be better, he just took it and showed no mercy. I mean, like there was no way back after this rook takes d7 for Alireza. I mean, he tried to get some play. I mean, he would probably trick all of us here in such position with this exchange down. I mean, because it looks like some compensation, but obviously, I mean, Fabi was so precise in the conversion. I was very impressed.
That was a very impressive game. All these moves he made, where he goes like queen takes a2, then later rook takes h2. Yeah. All these moves taking pawns that look super scary. But he was just calculating incredibly well, and then it's no longer scary. Overall, Fabi I was very impressed with in the first 7 rounds. Like, as opening nerves, his preparation is amazing. He always gets a surprise that is backed up by a lot of work. He has a very good feel for where he can catch people. And if he's surprised himself, like with the 6 queen d3, he takes his time but reacts very logically. But then it fell apart a bit for him in round 8, where he lost to Nakamura, which... At least computer-wise, I mean, the game was incredibly exciting and great fun. Computer-wise, there were lots of mistakes. Do you think Fabi struggles against Nakamura? Because I'm sure they have a lot of history. They know each other. They're both Americans. There's some banter. Does the Nakamura persona make it tough for him? Or is Hikaru just incredibly good?
Let me just jump in here. I will want to agree about Caruana, the first 7 round. Well, to say he played a perfect tournament was too much, but I think things were going as a minimum according to plan, maybe even better. Just because Nepomniachtchi did even better, of course, it didn't look like that. But of course, the last 2 games has been very disappointing for him in many ways. I don't think that it's so much this kind of personal history with Hikaru. Actually, Hikaru has been impressing chess-wise here in many ways, I would say, and such. And this game especially was very, very good, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, so Hikaru is just strong.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
Sorry, good.
This rook a2, I mean, move was, in my opinion, after h3, when Caruana played h3, he had some time, but okay, rook a2. was really the star move. I mean, everything was great. I agree with you guys that the first 7 games were excellent from FIDE. Very, very impressive, very solid. I mean, like taking his chances. Round 8, I mean, I think the position is really tough to play for Black, so I wouldn't blame him too much. I would more blame him for the game. I mean, for not spotting Bishop F1 against Nepo, which is basically instead of Bishop takes F5. I mean, I don't know what I kept thinking about what he missed there, and to me it's really not obvious, because Bishop F1 basically you have to move the knight from D6 and you will get Bishop C4 check. I mean, it's incredibly natural. I mean, it's not a computer move at all, and it looks so good for white. I mean, I would think I would play Bishop F1 actually, to be very honest. While against Nakamura, I'm sure I would do much worse than Caruana. But not spotting Bishop F1 for me is kind of very shocking. I mean, I don't know, in such an important game. Maybe he was tired by the previous game against Naka, which lasted for, not only he lost, but he lost in more than 6 hours. So that was really a disaster on many different levels. But I don't know what you guys think, but Bishop F1 is so natural against Caruana.
First of all, yeah, let's maybe stick with the Nakamura Caruana game, because it was such an epic clash. First of all, this might be personal preference, but I don't like this open Spanish. Like, clearly Fabi had incredibly deep preparation even there, and if instead of knight g3, where I think Nakamura mixed up the moves, white goes for the computer line, this bishop g5, I'm sure exciting things would have happened, like some c4, take the rook, take the pawn and so on. But the positions, they always seem very tough for black to handle, and in practice I don't really like the way things have been playing out for black in these positions. As for the game, I thought, yeah, Nakamura played great. Then he would sometimes let go a little in winning positions, happened more than once, and let Fabi back into the game. And then he had to find some star move like this h3, rook a2, or later when it's completely finished, he goes for this piece up position, goes knight d5 and allows the black pawn to come to e2. And then he played some quick moves, king f4, and he had to do some miracles actually to win the game. Some knight e3, knight g2.
Yeah, that was sick.
But he always was able to pull himself together when it was about to slip away, which is incredibly tough. No, I mean, if you had a winning position and then you slightly mess it up, then to still be able to find the only ways.
Actually, it's great pity that Fabi didn't play the best line. He could put the rook on f1. I mean, so he could play rook h1 instead of rook f6. And then it was incredibly tough to win for white, if it was winning.
Yeah, but black had to do some sick things, like go bishop e4, allow the pawn on e2 to be taken, then play bishop f3. It's not very human.
Okay.
Anyway, we're into, I'm not sure anybody can follow what we're talking about. We're just talking about random moves in random games. Overall, Fabi, very, very impressive first 7 rounds. Then had this collapse against Nakamura. Nakamura, I think, obviously no debate that he's great at chess. I think it's a bit the usual. He's excellent with white, with 1 e4. He has this pinpointed preparation, and even if his opponent is as well prepared, he gets positions that he's good at playing. With black, it's my usual criticism that it's always the same repertoire, Berlin, Nimzo, and that he is slightly vulnerable there. And of course, these are good openings and so on, but it always feels like there things could go wrong if his opponent chooses the direction. Well, with white, he's been impressive. And
actually, it did against... it was not expected that, actually, for me, that Rajabov would win a game. And that was actually good prep from Rajabov. He was playing quickly against this Berlin in round 9. And to the general surprise, because clearly Rajabov was not doing well, not playing actively, not playing for a win, obviously, in previous games. And suddenly he got this prep in, and he played a very good game, but actually Nakamura made it kind of easier for him by repeating the Berlin and getting into some good prep in Berlin.
Yeah, I couldn't quite judge there. We should let Peter speak, but it's more fun if he doesn't get to speak for 10 minutes because he starts steaming there. And I couldn't quite judge there if Nakamura played for a win with bishop a7 or tried to spice it up, because if he goes bishop d6, he has sort of a normal solid position, I thought. Also, it's easy to criticize, but they did have these insanely tough games, and the schedule is fairly tough as well. Nakamura won this roller coaster against Fabi, and the next day you're black and so on. It's very understandable that
and he
you
was
can't
maybe
have full
expecting
energy.
a quick draw, actually, because Rajabov had a couple of also very, very tough games. I mean, he played against Ali Reza forever when Ali Reza was clearly showing his will to win at any cost, I mean, in any position, which reminded me, of course, reminded us of certain Magnus Carlsen, who is capable of doing such games. I mean, like, he has nothing, plays for hours, try everything, and while you feel that the guy, till there is no king against king, he will try something and ask questions. It's exactly what did Ali Reza against Rajabov. But Rajabov defended well, and almost at the end, I mean, it could go either way.
No,
clearly.
in the final position, it felt like black was taking over a bit, but he did the chicken chess club proud. I would have blitzed out king h4 so happily. You have to repeat, my dear friend. I'm not doing anything else. King h4, rook h1, king g5.
While
that was good defensive effort.
and I think I'm afraid we are not too respectful towards our politician friend.
Let's let Peter talk. He must have many
please,
thoughts
Peter.
lined up.
I hope the listeners stayed with you, because I tuned out 5 minutes ago. But I have to say I am disappointed because, well, you speak about this open Spanish and you had like 10 minutes to at least give me one compliment. I mean, well, this whole system where white normally took on f6, but instead now plays knight f1 and the king back to g1, right? I really think it was our invention for the 2016 match, and at least I remember myself looking at it, and I think Maxime Lagrave played it later as maybe one of the first. Vachier Lagrave, my apologies.
I was.
for my
You were
French.
looking at it, I think. Okay. Let's.
Thanks a lot.
You sure?
Yes. And such. I think he used it to make a draw, but also, well, and that is a new concept in this line. I think for maybe the 2010 match, I forgot when it was that Anna and Kasparov were sort of debating some opening ideas. I mean, I think this line in the Spanish was something where we exchanged views on, but this concept was not really existing at that point. But anyway,
It was
this was
not
just
our- I mean, like,
shameless
this-
commercial.
Yeah, first of all, let me correct you. First of all, this king g1. I mean, Maxim used it to beat Caruana in Bucharest. He won the game.
My apologies.
And I think, I mean, like, we didn't invent anything. I mean, I was checking that line back in the days with Mr. Kramnik. We may get to him at some point and his his comments, but I was checking that like 15 years ago, I think, with Kramnik.
You could have told us when we started.
I mean,
checking
I
in
told you,
2016.
but
then.
yeah, okay. You
Anyway.
you don't remember. I do. We spent.
Okay.
I mean, like we spent
Okay.
a lot of time on that because it was our, as we mentioned in our series from Bonn. It was our second opening for Bonn in case the Petrov would fall. But okay, in case Vichy would just play one e4, which didn't happen at all in 2008.
It's just a good reminder. You should always write your own memoirs. That'll be much better. And
I think we can all agree. The
So-
open Spanish is a horrible opening, and Fabi
Yeah.
should get rid of that addiction.
Yeah.
Like, I heard these stories from Bonn.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of the seconds using the open Spanish that was prepared afterwards. Like, drop it, Fabi.
No.
well,
Kramnik was suggesting to me that
No,
I
but-
should. We were checking open Spanish and it looked not great, and he was suggesting that I should play it just to test it in if it's.
That's
just
what I
to
was
test
getting at.
it.
Even you were too disgusted by it to ever use it.
Yeah, exactly. Generally, I'm the first one to try to use all the ideas we checked during a prep for the match, and not only. Okay, I like to annoy Peter, of course. But not only that, I mean, like, it looks like we did a lot of work, so why not to use it for my own games. This Open Spanish, I was not really a big fan. I used it a few times, and I was always better prepared, but it was always so difficult to play. Exactly what happened with Fabi in both games against MVL and Nakamura. And even for him, it's too tough to play.
Well, we also prepared the Open Spanish for the 2010 match for Black with Vichy. Not as his first choice, but his second choice. I think none of the seconds, or Vichy himself, has played any of the lines we prepared there. They were so horrible that, I think I was at this recent chess camp in Charlotte. I was telling Topalov of our choices against him for 1e4, and he looked a bit, okay, maybe I should have done that. But, these times the White was actually kicking ass in the Open.
So the Chicken Chess Club does not approve of the Open Spanish. We do love Spanish Opens, but the Open Spanish, it's too tough to play.
Yeah, Spanish Opens are great. Actually.
Spanish Opens, not too tough to play. Start at 5 p.m. It's nice.
We should go one day, actually.
I'm going to Madrid on the 30th, so tomorrow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So you will be...
You have been invited by FIDE?
Yeah, FIDE's paying for my ticket. Dvorkovich, he wanted to have a catch-up about my proximity to rival campaigns. but it's only a 4-star hotel, Peter. I'll leak you the receipts.
Jan, okay, I would be grateful to you if you can take a selfie with Dvorkovich, Dana, Sutovsky.
Will certainly happen.
Please.
No, I'm going there to to do commentary from the venue, or not from the venue, but from some chess club in Madrid for some days, and to breathe the chess air. It's nice to be there, no? When the candidates is there, all the chess fans. No bigger fan of chess life than me.
Okay. Without playing.
Just use the opportunity to...
Please.
That's the Chicken Chess Club. Yeah, we want to be around, but without playing.
Exactly.
Please, Peter.
Appeals committee.
Yes. I want to jump in on the chance to campaign a little bit. Jan mentioned the 4-star hotel. As far as I understand, that half of the players has left the official hotel they were provided because they didn't find it excellent.
Oh, there are free rooms? I'll take one.
But, I'm just flicking out this rumor. But yeah. Anyway, there's 4, so it's first come, first served, I guess.
So who left?
So... I that more intro I don't have. I only have.
That sounds like fake.
So how do you get your info, Peter? By the way, did you hear 4 players left the official hotel, but we don't know which ones? This doesn't add up.
Exactly. No, but it just shows how weak my network is. It's an asymmetrical campaign situation.
I'll investigate on site and report back.
Thank you. That's a good.
All right. Anything else to talk about in the candidates? Nepomniachtchi is cruising, no? Like, there was this big game in round 9. Nepomniachtchi was 1 point ahead of Fabi. Fabi had to win where he touched upon it. Fabi's preparation, impressive as always. This knight h4 idea in the Petrov, whether we had it or not, spoiler alert, we did not have it, was, I thought, very nice. He always finds ways to surprise and to put positions, maybe that's the difference in experience to Alireza, positions that, put his opponents under a lot of pressure as well. So I was a big fan, but then Laurent mentioned this critical move. Bishop f1 that he should have played. It looked like he was running a bit out of steam. No, he couldn't calculate the lines as clearly as I think even earlier in the tournament.
But it was not so difficult because you are not giving up a piece. You can take on e7, but you can take on... I mean, like, for me, I don't see what he missed. I mean, like, and you clearly see that the bishop on f1, I mean, it belongs to this diagonal because you have this, when the knight on d6 will move, you will have this bishop c4 check, which would be almost decisive. So maybe he lacks this natural instinct at times. I noticed that already, that sometimes just natural moves, he doesn't make them. He's great at calculating. That's for sure. Maybe with MVL, that's like, I don't know. It's hard to judge, but okay, he's great for sure. But sometimes he's lacking this intuitive stuff. I mean, like you keep the bishop on the right diagonal.
But If we're
like my
in order
story.
to lose all the listeners, after bishop f1, the critical line is knight c8, bishop c4 check, bishop e6, and then you go rook takes e6, you sacrifice the exchange, knight takes e6, knight h takes f5, which is also a sick move, king to f6, and white just plays an exchange down for a pawn, and the computer says it's much better. I don't think it's super intuitive.
Okay, I missed that king f6, so maybe he missed something, but okay, no, okay, let's not go deep into the lines.
No, I'm just
I don't know.
saying,
You
it's not like he makes 2 normal moves and the game is over. It was all very
yeah, but
heavy
are you
calculation.
risking much? Because the other line, it's clear that it's instant though. Even if I mean, it was almost at some point I was really afraid that it was game over. I mean, like if Nepo wins because he started to, I mean, give this position to Magnus, and he will create much more problems in the end game. I mean, like when you had this outside pass pawn. Nepo, I mean, you give this position to Magnus, you will play 20-30 more moves. I mean, if you manage to make a draw, but he will certainly ask much more questions. If Nepo would win, it would be just game set match, basically.
Yeah, he was happy to wrap that one up. You could tell him maybe in a different tournament situation he would have played differently and pushed the b-pawn a bit more.
Yeah, so
I just want to know.
Please.
No, okay. The line that Jan just used to smash Laurent, it was something you did used against you, so there's some kind of food chain like this?
I
or you
actually
just,
have
no.
engines and look at the games to do an analysis, which you can watch on Janistan TV, my fantastic YouTube channel in German, daily. No, but
and recently...
it's
I have
just to annoy
nothing to
Peter.
plug in. While Peter has his campaign.
No, we looked at all these lines with you did without engines on the live broadcast, and it was very, very messy. Like, we covered a lot of stuff, but it wasn't, like, obvious at all what works and what doesn't. That particular line, I remember because we didn't find it. Like.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's not easy, I agree, but it was clearly the only way to create problems. Of course, he could lose, but, I mean, like, who cares? Why not to take risk at that point of the tournament, because now he's 1 point behind. Nepo was a bit lucky. I mean, he's playing well. He was a bit lucky against Rapport, for instance, when Rapport just showed poor preparation, but I mean, the sensible, of course, the sensible decision was just to repeat moves and go home, while he decided to start the game basically with a lost position. So that was a bit of luck for Nepo, even if he punished incredibly well.
Let's talk about that game. As theory nerds, that was so strange what Rapport did. Peter, what happened there?
Peter.
Well, I just wanted to jump in here to use the chance to actually praise Nepomniachtchi. That the reason he's leading the tournament is he's been playing the best chess and also been by far the best sporting competitors. Very few moments of weakness, and when there was maybe some weakness connected with opening, he sort of managed to solve it by playing well. I mean, for instance, he might have been surprised against Ali Reza, against Caruana and such. It doesn't seem to do him much bad. Then you asked about some opening question. Let me try and fake I don't know anything about that. What was it?
About this Petrov against Rapport. Wait, basically.
Some long forced line. This was, at least I would say, on a general level, it was very strange, because we saw later that Rapport really wanted to win the game, and he sort of stepped out of a draw. To me, it's just strange that in the next game he plays 4g3. Why wouldn't he play that against Nepom and force a game of chess, rather than try to beat him in a computer battle? That's very puzzling to me.
Convincingly against Duda.
He won the other game by playing 4g3, while against Nepom he thought his best chance was a very sharp opening.
He won convincingly by playing 4g3? Like, he's much, or seriously worse after 10 moves with white. And then later on, Duda outplays him and plays this very strange move, knight g5 instead of g6. If he plays g6, Rapport will suffer greatly.
I think it was Laurent who said outplayed, right? Or
it was... Yeah. No, okay, maybe it's worse, of course, by Jan's standard. By Jan nerd's standard. Of course it's worse, but it's just a position to play. I mean, it's no disaster. I mean, there's all pieces on the board. Maybe it's slightly worse, okay. But
what he got later as well, he gets the worst version of this Italian you can get. He goes bishop e3, fe3 in order to play. And he has this Italian structure with a bishop on g2. I thought he was seriously worse, but
really, yeah, seriously worse even. I didn't think so. I thought it was just a game.
Well, had we recorded this podcast before round 9, I would have said that this Rapport Nepomniachtchi was one other example of that Nepomniachtchi just knows any kind of detail in this Petrov because he's checked it with the supercomputer. Of course, the Caruana again sort of puts quite some holes into that.
But also that storyline. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I like to disagree with Peter.
Yeah,
so
I also
will
want
do it once more because he says that Nepo is playing the best chess. I think he has some. I'm sorry, but he's leading. He's playing very good chess, but best chess, I'm not sure. I mean, if you look at the games, he got Ding in complete jet lag. I mean, it was clear that it was not the same Ding than the Ding we saw, for instance, yesterday against Duda, who played a very good game. He got also this point against Rapport, which is, why not to take a draw? I mean, this is just insane. So he's taking his chances. He's playing well. But I'm not sure I was more impressed in the first 7 games by Caruana. Much more impressed, actually. But, Nepo was just scoring points. His opponents were clearly not playing at their far from their best. So, quality-wise, I would say that first 7 games, first half, Caruana was playing better. Actually, playing better chess.
Disagree with both of you. This is fantastic. First of all, this line Rapport played against Nepomniachtchi, just because Nepomniachtchi knows the reply to Queen B3, which is the first computer line without any depth. You don't need a Russian supercomputer. Giri knows this, Caruana knows this. You could tell by their faces walking by and by what they said afterwards. I knew this. And Bishop H3, you need to have the computer run for 1 second. So if you choose this line with white, and you get the first computer line in reply, then to be surprised by this and to think for an hour and go for a lost position instead of the draw, I think Rapport couldn't explain himself what happened. I do disagree. I think Nepomniachtchi clearly played the best chess, especially now that we have the 9 rounds. We can't blame him for taking his chances. Of course, he got some gifts, but he always reacts practically. He hasn't had these moments of weakness like Fabi had against Nakamura and also now actually in the game against Nepomniachtchi himself. Even in trouble, he plays quickly, he avoids time trouble. Yeah, he's confident, and it's the story with him. If things go well, he can get on a roll. We didn't put him as a top favorite because he has this tendency to collapse after a loss, but it hasn't happened, and there's only 5 rounds left. Peter has something to say.
Yes, I would like to add that while we all 3 seems to disagree, I agree much more with Jan than with Laurent.
No, but come on. I mean, you are just saying that he's playing well. I mean, like, he's facing Pep. I mean, like, he's on -2. I mean, like, objectively speaking, after 15 moves yesterday, after the surprise, he's just busted, just lost.
Yeah, but that's why he's playing well, no? Like,
he's playing well, yeah.
He made
just
great
put
moves
him
defending, hanging in there.
Come on. I mean, like, put him against Magnus. You will see Bishop F1 will come, and he will shake hand in the next 10 moves. I mean, okay, I mean, like, he's playing well because his opponents are playing very poorly, taking very poor decisions. And also, Fabi, instead of King G2, just play Bishop E3. I mean, in which world you are not playing Bishop E3, actually? So
can we agree on,
I mean,
he's
playing
not
well
playing
to a
well,
certain
but
extent.
he's playing better than everybody else in the tournament, then?
Yeah, I don't think he's playing. I mean, like, he has a bunch of luck, I would say. I mean, like, because Fabi, the previous day, he gets this loss against Nakamura. He's clearly tired after 7 hours game. He just lost. He gets this first round against Ding, which, I mean, it's obvious that Ding is jet-lagged, played a non-game. He gets this point against Ricci because Ricci just only made draws so far. So if he's playing Ricci round 2, same opening, Ricci will make a draw, that's for sure. He just got annoyed by all these draws and he wanted to play on. But actually, for me, gets a bunch of luck. He's not playing great, far from that. Yesterday, actually, I think he acted quite poorly to this prep of Fabi. But please, Peter, you can massively disagree with me. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I actually didn't follow.
No, just say I
tune out
disagree.
now
It's okay. Even if you...
It's okay. Yeah, so no, I get your point that in many ways Nepomniachtchi has had fortunate circumstances and such, and it could have gone a different way. But as I said, general sort of on a sporting level, he has taken most of his chances. He has fought well back when he should and such. I mean, there is situations like this where it's just sure, you maybe have some luck, but also you take it incredibly well and such. I think there was some statistics about who has taken most of their chances in the tournament. And so someone like Ding had the potential for 2 more points, while for Nepom it was very, very little. He had chances to get more. Sure. So I think that matters a lot, and that's how tournaments are decided.
Also against Richie, this position, I mean, the computer says black is much better, but he made it look so easy in Nepomniachtchi. He's playing so quickly, so precisely, no, like he doesn't forgive in these spots. And that adds up.
No.
Mm-hmm. But it was very wrong.
Well, it's well deserved. He is where he is. Till round 7, I thought, okay, Caruana could be just as well deserved leader of the tournament based on quality. That is not the case anymore. I think Nepom is there for a reason. It's as simple as that.
So we spoke a lot about them. Do we believe in a comeback for second place for Ding or Alireza? Because now the second place matters a lot. Actually, there is only. I think between Alireza and Caruana there is only 1.5 points, so which is, I mean, not impossible to get. So, and the second place is kind of, especially if Nepo keeps on playing well, it's not nothing. I mean, it's not like the second place of MVL in the last candidate. So I don't know what you guys think.
So you believe in the Nepomniachtchi Alireza match?
I mean, it's not impossible. Why not? On Nepomniachtchi Ding Liren. Ding Liren is 1 point.
Ding is back to 50%. He could still make a run. But, of course, Fabi. Mm-hmm. Peter, you're the statistics guy. What are the odds for Nepomniachtchi winning, Fabi finishing second?
It actually it depends a lot, I would say. How much does Caruana value second place? Because you could argue Caruana should gamble like crazy in his remaining games to catch Nepomniachtchi. On the other hand, if he thinks that being number 2 after Nepomniachtchi is a very likely World Championship match, why would he? So this is a very, I mean, I'm not inside his head. Well, good for him.
FIDE. Screw Petro.
I don't know what yeah. I don't know. I mean, under normal circumstances, I would say Nepomniachtchi would try and draw every game from here. Because that's a good strategy, and then Caruana has a decent chance of catching up if he sort of keeps escalating risks in a way. And maybe Nepomniachtchi will sort of play calmly for a win with white against some of the lower rated players. Maybe he'll make +1, and it's up to Caruana to make +3.
I don't think he'll make +1. Just draws.
On the other hand,
he will just try to make draws every game.
That's I think that he will start to do if Caruana starts sort of coming closer. Yeah. He might have to adjust that. But of course, the question is Caruana happy about being second? That I don't know. I mean, well, it's a weird situation, obviously, in that sense. I think that under normal circumstances where only first place mattered, Caruana would have a relevant chance of catching up because, everybody is tired, he will start gambling, he will be incredibly motivated, playing people who are not that motivated. Of course, he could also end up on 50%, it's hard to say, but the chance is there. While now, I don't know which strategy he will take. That's actually a very interesting plot twist.
How do you judge
the
chances of Nepomniachtchi winning at this point? Like 80%?
That's what I said on Twitter, basically. That I think it's around 75 to 80%. The models gives him a bit more, but that's basically... My argument was that Caruana really wants to catch up at any price. At that point, I had forgotten, actually, that second place could be very valuable. So now I would probably say it's more 80 than 75%. But, it's
I agree. It depends how Fabi
Anyone disagree?
views it. I think he will keep playing his normal chess and try to get games, but he's not going to play whatever, e4, g6, or start playing the Taimanov all of a sudden instead of...
No.
Yeah, his main prepared openings. We'll be curious to find out, though.
Well, he will always have an eye on those chasing him as well, right? Normally, in this situation, you would only care about the one you are chasing, but I think here, I mean, it's impossible not to look.
Also, would be strange, no? Like,
would be my best guess.
I mean, of course, everyone can read into what Magnus said, how they feel like, and Fabi said before the tournament, that he doesn't quite believe that, Magnus not going to play the match. But especially against Nepomniachtchi, with the info we had, and Magnus saying he wants to play the younger generation and so on, and them just having played the match, you would think that as Fabi, you put quite a high probability on Magnus not playing another match against Nepomniachtchi, in which case second place is basically as good as first. No, it gets him a match.
Yeah, I agree. So that of course adds to Nepomniachtchi's chances as well. Well, one joker is that, for instance, Nakamura will have to play Nepomniachtchi as well in the tournament still. And I think Nepomniachtchi will be
4 nights.
But from Nakamura's perspective, maybe, I mean, it's actually a good point that Ding allowed the 4 nights against Nepomniachtchi. Maybe that was a strategical mistake. I'm also very curious what happens in the Nepomniachtchi-Nakamura game. Maybe from Nakamura's perspective, he actually needs to win that one, or maybe he thinks he only has to catch.
Spoiler
Caruana.
alert! Thursday, Alireza will kick some ass. He's white against Nepo.
Oh.
He's white
That would
against
be
Nepo, and he will
hot
go.
twist.
I mean, like, this game is not going to be a draw. I mean, a
No.
quiet draw. That's for sure. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but some people will take risk as well against Nepo. Nepo has 3 whites though, so this is, of course, situation is looks incredibly good for him. But he has 2 blacks and 1 against Alireza, which is clearly anything can happen in that game. I mean, like, it's not going to be an easy draw or something like that. Yeah, that's for sure. So let's see. So you see, Jan, we spent. Did it ever happen to us that we were spending like 50 minutes of our time together, and we didn't speak about FIDE?
It's coming.
You seem to me like you're trying to deprive me on this free campaign time, but I don't know if we have a couple of subjects before that.
No,
actually.
the candidates, other narratives. Let's just very quickly go through the players. Poor Duda collapsed half out of the last 4 games. You can see him sitting there, not being thrilled with how things are going. He'll be back though. I believe in Jan Krzysztof. Then Rajabov won a game. First classical win since 2019. First candidates win since round 2 of the 2013 candidates. In fairness, he didn't play that many after. But ending Nakamura's chances. What else we got? Ding
won
back
again.
in business. What about Ding?
Missing too many chances, simply. I mean, he's playing, getting good positions. He had chances, he doesn't take them.
Yeah,
that's a huge difference to
the first
Nepomniachtchi.
game. That's really everything going against Ding. But he's such a strong player that he's still at 50%. I mean, you feel that his tournament is going so.
Ding said jet lag, or you're just making it up yourself?
No, he
he
traveled
arrived the day
2 days
before.
before
Ding
the
mentioned-
first round. And he's also there all by himself, which I find strange. I would guess he's a bit of an introvert, and then for 3 weeks, I don't know him well, but you guys don't know him better actually. But then for 3 weeks to be there all by yourself without having someone to talk to after the games, I find very tough. Like, I'm sure there are reasons for it. But the whole operation doesn't look that professional. Like, this would never happen to Fabi to be there without someone. Also, Ding's openings, like, he's so good it doesn't matter so much. But he hasn't come with surprises. No, it's still the very main lines of the Italian he's always played, the Spanish he's always played, and so on. So, and he, with white it's d4, c4. He's still excellent, and had he taken all his chances, I don't think we can blame the openings that much. But it looked like, there were many things stacked up against him.
Too many things went wrong, but still on 50%. So imagine, I mean, Ding. So it feels like such a pity, but I don't know. That's all I can say. It's a pity, simply, because if it feels that at times it feels to me that he's by far the best player of the tournament, but it's not enough, unfortunately.
It's not enough to be a good player. You also have to play well.
Yeah, and we have
Exactly.
Alireza was desperately trying to win a game, and finally he did against Ricci. So that's good news, of course, for him. And great bad shape. I would say bad shape, great fighting spirit. So the fighting spirit, you basically never lose it, and that was rewarded.
Yeah, you can see him. You can see him pushing every day, not giving up. Like no, he has a very impressive mentality, and once experience and so on kicks in, he'll be tough to deal with. Like he already is pretty tough to deal with, obviously.
And Ricci showed poor prep. Unfortunately, he's a great player, I think. But yesterday against Alireza as well was incredibly poor. I mean, he was lost, but then he's always managing something. But against Nepo also, it was a disaster. So somehow I don't feel...
It's a good point.
No, it's not like he's just entertaining and choosing wild openings. He's just badly prepared. Like against Ding, he follows the game from the Champions Chess Tour. White plays Bishop G5, it's +2. He manages to save the game. It's a mess. He also, he plays these games in the... Taimanov, knight to6, e6, he repeats the line, gets under pressure there. Although there he was decently prepared. But his prep is not up to it, and I think you need it at this level. Like, it's very hard, even for the biggest geniuses, without. Peter has something to say.
Yeah, I said it's a good point, and then you didn't dare having me to sort of backpedal from that towards what you say. But what I wanted to say is that I think Rapport actually showed very clever and interesting preparation in recent tournaments. Somehow it's fallen a bit back from that this time. It hasn't really clicked this time. I was actually expecting him to be better or differently prepared, and that I thought would sort of materialize into also helping his playing skills to make a lot of points. Somehow it just haven't worked in a way. That's my impression.
And he was still at 50% after 8 games. Like he's such a unique talent. Yeah, he's been fun every day.
Fair enough. Sure.
Okay, so
we
should go. We will see. But
okay.
Yeah, of course, Nepo is big favorite, but we should go to the main. People are waiting, I think. Yeah, no.
What are people waiting for? The Sutovsky Nielsen debate?
So yeah.
They will have to be patient.
What's wrong?
the segment.
To fix. In FIDE this week, Peter. So I have some. I mean, like I was not too interested this week, but there's something which I don't get, Peter. Okay. I will ask you. So you keep on talking to Sutovsky on Twitter and asking for the debates. And I think you rightly pointed out on Twitter and on a previous episode that Sutovsky is an employee, so he's not elected, and so that's the regulation. The regulation is very clear that 3 months before during the campaign time, the employee should basically shut up, which obviously Sutovsky is not able to achieve. And I think he should be. I mean, like if I would be in charge, he would be fired immediately because it's not normal. It's not normal. And then on the other hand, so I think you have a great point there. But then you just keep asking questions to him while he's not supposed to be able to talk. And you keep looking for a debate and so on. Like, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. First, I generally agree with what you say. I don't keep asking questions to him. I made some points about the Norilsk Nickel being there. Without tagging him, and then he started replying to that. Then, of course, I also have to live in the real world, which is that, Sutovsky is answering the questions on behalf of FIDE during the electoral period. I don't know how to do. If I just, if he says something I think is wrong, people will also think, I think I have to counter it with arguments. How else to deal with it? To debate him in public, I also see as problematic, but I don't think it's me who's making a mistake. I even spoke with one of the other tickets about if it was a problem for them, because I don't want them to see me breaking the rules and say, no, it's clearly him who is breaking the rules, not me. I have the right to debate and such. I would much rather debate with Dvorkovich or anyone from their team, but they seem unwilling to do it. I understand the problematics, but I think it's not a fault on my side. And
I don't think you should
also
continue this and just tell him every time he just tweets. I mean, okay, you are not able to tweet. I mean, like, at some point we all should file a complaint. I mean, I don't know, but to the electoral commission,
I think we will
at some point you should. No, but it's clear. I mean, like, this is clearly not doing. It feels like cheating, actually. I mean, like, it's no less than cheating.
Well,
I mean, like, it's clearly campaigning for actively for Dvorkovich, while it's forbidden for him. So he should resign from his job or stop that. I mean, that's as simple as that.
Okay, to stop this campaigning here, from Laurent jumping in as well, it's surprising to me. Like, for years, I don't know how long it's been, 3-4 years, every problem with FIDE, Peter addresses at Sutovsky, and Sutovsky has been this long-held debate with Peter about topics, mainly explaining things within FIDE. And now, all of a sudden, well, Peter keeps also asking him and tagging him a lot. I can look it up. And now he's not supposed to defend himself or react any longer. Like, he's still an employed FIDE official. If there are problems within FIDE, why shouldn't he answer? And why, if Peter has all these criticisms, shouldn't he answer? It's not necessarily campaigning if Peter keeps addressing all these complaints at him, and then the man can defend himself and the work he's been doing. No, I don't get it.
Okay, please, Peter.
Well, let me answer it. Yes, he was replying to something I said about FIDE and Norilsk Nickel. It's him who is involving himself in a debate. I'm not.
But Peter, the last 3 years, you've not been trying to debate with Sutovsky whenever there was something that you found wrong in FIDE?
Well, the last 3 years is different. This is not the electoral period. The FIDE has made, well, actually, it's Sutovsky and his administration himself who's made very clear electoral rules that there is this period where FIDE is run and they represent this thing. But with 3 months to go, they all have to stay completely neutral because now we have an electoral period. That's the whole point. That is written into the FIDE charter. It specifies 3 months of an electoral period. There's very strict things that the employees not can do. They are not even allowed to use their own phones to talk with Dvorkovich without sort of having only very technical things, for instance. I mean, they made the rules themselves. Then we ask him, could you actually follow the rules?
Yeah, no, but I mean, exactly, right. I mean that is
I
not
see
your
unreasonable.
point. Yeah, of course. Peter was tagging him for years. I mean, it's 3 months. 3 months he has to stop because he's not elected, he's not running. This is a campaign time. So it's not employee who should. I mean, we are the same.
But in debate, Peter versus Sutovsky, it doesn't have to be like Sutovsky speaking on behalf of the Dvorkovich campaign. No, he can address all these criticisms that have been thrown at him. But forever, I don't see why
he cannot talk. I mean, it's clear. It's pretty clear that when he's doing these 4 pages on Facebook, mentioning only, according to him, 5 times Dvorkovich, which is, I mean, like, he doesn't understand it, but it's 5 times too many. I mean, this text is just I mean, it's just amazing, actually. Like, it's like a guy who will adjust the pieces on your time only 5 times a game, but this is 5 times too many. I mean, this cannot happen simply. So for these 3 months, I mean, 3 months is not like, it's not 4 years.
No, fine, I'm not sure what the exact rules are, but let's go along with it. But then Peter won't get his debate. Like, isn't it great for him to have a debate? Like, Dvorkovich will not debate Peter. Like Vichy and Peter, I would actually pay. I would pay for that one. So have it on demand. We'll get Vichy in, like HBO or something. But let's face it, that's not going to happen. So no debating for Peter.
Probably not. Well, I'm not saying no to it. I mean, well, had to make sure if the others didn't see me as breaking the rules. But
no, but and also
I think that we think
my main problem is that Dvorkovich is not doing anything. I mean, like, he should say to his general director, I mean, please stop that for 3 months. You simply cannot do that. I mean, like,
stop what?
I mean, it really disturbed me.
Peter
I mean,
on
like,
Twitter.
No.
Yeah.
Well, he has. I think, for instance, Dvorkovich shared this absurdly long piece by Sutovsky, where he praises the FIDE administration for the last
4 years.
4 years, and he doesn't mention, I mean, the strong ties to Russian sponsors, for instance, and stuff like this. I mean, it's obviously a very biased thing. But Dvorkovich has actually written about this on his Facebook page that, well, these accusations that he's using people for campaigning, I forgot the exact wording, and he's defending that it's not the case. They're just doing their normal work. And, well, that I disagree with.
Depends on your definition of campaigning as well. Like if you're criticized for the work you're doing, like you...
Well, sure. We can talk about Bologan going with him to South America, right? They did exactly the same 4 years ago, and they called it openly a campaign trip.
But
now they do it 4 years
Sutovsky.
later.
Did he go
they do
to
the
South
same
America?
things. I think Sutovsky was campaigning in other things before the last elections. No, Sutovsky didn't go to there. He's more, he's more writing things, in my opinion.
But I'm checking Twitter now. Course, you tagged him twice on one post. Yeah. At Emil Sutovsky. No, you prouded yourself for having taken action against Gayakin. Why don't FIDE take Peskov and Shoigu to the ethics?
Peter is campaigning. It's normal. I mean, he can do whatever he likes.
Yeah, but then, so you can't blame him if you keep tagging him that he answers. No, like Peter wants an answer. If not, he will say, no transparency, no one's talking to me. Like,
he should just go out of Twitter or do some... I mean, like, if he doesn't like it, then he shouldn't answer.
I think you're wrong, Jan. That my principal point of view that Sutovsky could not be the spokesperson of Dvorkovich, but in reality he is. And that's why, well, I will never get any reply from Dvorkovich, but the only place to campaign is to speak with Sutovsky. I think, that's just how it is, unfortunately.
So what would you want Sutovsky to do? To not reply to you? Would you think that's proper behavior, or to reply to you?
Well, I want... for instance, again, you repair about this Norris Nigel thing. I didn't tag him initially. He started answering on FIDE's behalf to me, and then, of course, the first thing he said I was misleading by he's saying that, this Norris Nigel thing was only once. Then I put up 5 different pictures, or maybe 4, and I tell him that his timeline doesn't work out at all. He's still wearing it in week sort of game number 6, and he doesn't reply to that. When he actually goes in without being tagged and tell people that I'm misleading, then I have every right to point out.
No, I'm not saying you don't have the right. I'm saying, what do you want him to do? Yeah. To reply to you or not reply to you?
Well, of course. Yeah, but I mean, the point is, I don't want him to get walled in the first stage. But when he actually takes on his role to say that I'm misleading, then I'm forced to do it. But of course, I would want him to stay completely out of this for 3 months, as the rules state.
No, but I mean, actually...
So you're setting every time you're tagging him, you're setting him the trap that he breaks the rules.
No, come on. This is normal.
Yeah, this is completely unreasonable, what you're saying. I agree. I mean, then you're leaving me in a catch-22 situation.
No, I mean, like, he can campaign. I mean, like, and then Sutovsky is coming and saying that one of the candidates is misleading. I mean, come on, just, if you want to run for the office, just please... make a ticket, Sutovsky and I don't know, whoever he want, or be instead of Vichy with Dvorkovich. But he's not running, so he should stay. I mean, he should keep for himself. That's how it works.
My principal point of view is clear. Sutovsky, Bologan, and Dana should, according to rules, stay completely out of election. But they don't, and that's why I have to point out that they're not allowed to do it, but B, I also have to counter their arguments.
But it's even the case for FIDE ethics commissions, no?
I think it's a thing for the FIDE electoral
I mean, like,
rules
and actually, I mean, like, if people are traveling, then it's difficult to prove. But what Sutovsky is writing on Twitter, I mean, it's clearly attacking Peter, who is a candidate. So it doesn't stay. So when he's saying like Peter is misleading, I'm really sorry to defend so much. I mean, to be so much on Peter's side, but for a change, he's right. So let's give him that. When he says that Peter is misleading, I mean, he's saying that a candidate is misleading. So he's clearly campaigning against that candidate. I mean, like, even if he may argue that he's not campaigning for Dvorkovich, he's campaigning against Peter, which is just wrong.
Well, you could argue if he pointed that out about everybody, but he has never pointed out.
So even if Sutovsky is 200% right, which is not the case, he doesn't have the right to do it. So this is not even the you don't have to check what Sutovsky is saying. He just can't say it. So I mean, I'm very annoyed, actually.
I'm very surprised with this bro.
I'm also very surprised, but I'm done. I'm just not saying I agree with anything Sutovsky
you gave it a shot.
says. It's not so much about the issues, just from a human perspective. Even before Peter was a candidate or campaigning or whatever, like you have addressed all your complaints at him for 3 years, and you still do. Like it doesn't matter who attacks whom first. We could look for examples, and now you're saying he's breaking all the rules by replying that. I'm not sure.
No,
well, Laurent
I mean,
that.
You're not following me well enough. You are not following me well enough on Twitter. I have been pointing out for years that he should stop using his private social medias for. I mean, sort of praising the federations and such. No, I mean, well, if you are not willing to spend your whole life checking all my tweets, and I think that's fair enough.
Checking your tweets.
Think,
June 14th. Dear @Emil Sutovsky, you have written a very long post praising Dvorkovich and how proud you are of your team.
2014? Yeah.
I mean, like...
So you shouldn't reply.
I mean... No, but also, I mean, like, the status of Peter...
Well, he shouldn't write
no,
it.
I mean,
That's
the
my
status
point.
of Peter also has changed. I mean, he was endorsed by some federation. I mean, we may...
no, Peter has every right to campaign. I'm just wondering.
I mean, he was endorsed, he's following the rules. He's a candidate now, so... Actually, even if Peter wouldn't be a candidate, I don't think Sutovsky would have the right to answer him, even if it would be more debatable. But here, I mean, it's clear that he cannot answer at all.
Yeah, but Jan, what do you want me to do? Sutovsky writes an extremely long piece, in reality praising the last 4 years of the Dvorkovich administration. Well, I mean, how am I supposed to? I think there is a ton of factual things wrong, or more importantly, it's extremely biased in a positive direction, very much downplaying the ties to Russia. I mean, well, I'm basically, it's a catch-22, because I can complain and say, well, which I did many times, saying, well, this is against the rules, and no one does anything. So, what else to do, right?
I mean, I understand your position. I'm just... Yeah, what I don't understand is you want to debate with somebody, and in practice, Dvorkovich, you're not getting an answer. Vichy, you're not getting an answer. So should we blame Sutovsky for actually defending whatever his position is, or
no? I think we should blame. I think we should blame Dvorkovich. He's the one who's responsible.
It's not Dvorkovich's job to debate.
No, it's his right not to.
It's his right not to.
Yeah.
No, it's but it's his job to tell Sutovsky,
of course,
not to do it like this. And what they do in reality is that they make Sutovsky his spokesperson, while Dvorkovich gets to look more stylish and such. And that is obviously unacceptable. They are trying to create the situation where Dvorkovich cannot be asked tough questions on Russia and his past, and Sutovsky does it instead. And that, of course, there's no doubt about that. On the Sutovsky debate, I want to say that it's not a given it'll happen. Well, he made a post that I said no to one date, which is true. Since then, I have suggested as many as 6 different dates, and he said no to all of them. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. And also, I don't think a debate between Sutovsky and me is a sort of a cornerstone of neither our campaign nor the sort of democratic situation.
I guess we have to move on. I would just repeat the same point. Like, so you want to debate Sutovsky, but you don't want him to break the rules by debating you.
I agree. I think we are not that far off each other. We're just trying to create content. Let's go to Nigel Short. Who want to go on the British Virgin Islands?
Are they still called the British Virgin Islands, or the islands after Nigel was there? That's the joke that
US Virgin Islands. I'm sorry.
And let's move on.
Yeah. Anyway, no, but Nigel Short, quite surprisingly, stepped down as FIDE vice president. And after, I think, a ruling in the Ethics Commission, and then an appeal upholding, and even making the sort of punishment harsher, right? I think he is sanctioned by 3 months of not being able to work on a FIDE official, which effectively ends his time as FIDE vice president. And well, Nigel has been quite vocal criticizing the situations there, and especially stating that it's a fake federation that doesn't have any sort of real members, as far as I understand, many of them is living in the States. I mean, he's even been posting sort of the current delegate of the US Virgin Islands, sorry for my slip before, is actually not living there, but she's living more time in the States, and so I think he published on Twitter her right to vote in the States, for instance. So Nigel has been digging some stuff there. But I think one of his main points is also that FIDE has given them $5,000 for a tournament where these sort of games are, in his opinion, obviously fake, and that the receipts are not sufficient and such. So he's going the hard way there. There seems to be a lot of tension there, which I don't know the details of.
I don't know either. Like, in general, this is just my personal opinion, but I think Nigel is usually right on the topics. Like when he judges this tournament didn't happen or there's something off there. More often than not, I find myself agree with him, like with his travel schedule and antics and campaigning and so on. You could have counter arguments, but I trust him.
No, I will make a confession that has always been the case with me. That from a factual standpoint, Nigel is very.
That's my feeling without knowing anything about it. But I can see he's very outspoken about it. Then I think the sentence he got was suspended, and he would have let it slide or would have taken effect later or whatever. But I think he's making a principle stand on what you could argue is a bit of a minor issue in the great sense of things, but he feels mistreated there, that he pointed out something that was wrong and got punished for it. So he's stepping down. I'm not sure, maybe Peter knows more there, if it is connected with any broader topics or Nigel's stance on the war or anything like that. To me, it just felt like he felt mistreated there, and he's a proud guy.
I think, as far as I know, he has not been very happy with the situation in FIDE and such, and his own position there has been sort of falling, but that's maybe more gossip and rumors and speculations, so maybe let's not go in that direction in a serious podcast like this.
Everything we say here is fact-checked. All right, other than that, I don't know if there's a political play, but to me it just looked like he was annoyed about the way this was treated. He feels he's right there.
Yeah. I kind of agree, but as I said, that from a factual point of view, Nigel is by far the one who is documenting it well, and he's also putting out his arguments in the open, while some of the others not. But I'm not into details of the full Ethics Commission ruling.
If you're not into details, I mean,
it's long and
definitely.
Yeah, I know. No, of course, I have read parts of it and such, but also, there is limited time to campaign.
I actually read the whole thing. I'm preparing hard for these podcasts.
Really?
I was curious about it, but it's so hard without any knowledge of the facts to tell who's the official federation, who's the other federation, who's in the wrong there, where did Nigel go, where should he have gone. It was a bit hard to understand all of it, but my gut feeling, this is just my gut feeling, is that he's probably right on the issue, on the structure there.
I have spoken with both the actual delegate and the sort of the competing federation and such, but it's a very complicated local fight going on for a long time and such. It's difficult, no doubt, and such. Moving on.
Vukovic.
Yeah.
Website interview. He has a website, right?
He does have a website, indeed. He launched a website as the first of the 4 candidates, surprisingly, at this late stage. I think within the last week, and he also gave an interview. So I can see you guys are just sitting there very quietly. So probably you're expecting me to give my point of view on that.
Exactly.
Right? It's clear that my interpretation of the situation is that Dvorkovich is again being very soft-spoken. And he's heavily downplaying his Russian ties, right? I mean, he's giving his whole career, and that's mentioning his education, that he has been doing this and that, and then in the end you say that he has been, for 18 years, he's been a civil servant in the Russian government in various positions. I mean, I made the joke on Twitter, that would be like Vichy saying that he's won 5 minor tournaments and not mention their world championships. I mean, he held the deputy prime minister for 6 years. I mean, that's an incredibly powerful position and such. The same, they are giving away which countries have supported them. They're having a list with pictures on their flags. But they are missing Russia, which the Russian Chess Federation has on numerous occasions said that they're supporting Djokovic and such. So it's obvious to me that he's very, very much downplaying his Russian past and present, in my opinion. And that seems to be their strategy. Also, as you said, that they will avoid debates. And also, if you look at the interview that was given this week, it's also, very sort of friendly and understanding in many ways, and uncontroversial, and not asking the hard questions that, for instance, Sutovsky promised he would ask. And you guys are just
I'm
wondering,
actually, you mentioned something about Russia. So Russia is not going to play Olympiad, but the Russian delegate is going to vote.
Yeah, they have nominated Mikhail Kobalya as their representative on the Congress, yes.
Okay.
No, I read the interview, and in general, my conflict, not just with Djokovic, but in general, that I haven't quite resolved for myself, obviously, and I don't think there's any disagreement here, or frankly, anywhere, we should strongly condemn the war, the Russian attack on Ukraine. And my personal politics is that I'm very unhappy with my German and also the French government for not being more supportive, for talking a lot about sending weapons and support, but in my opinion, not doing enough, and also the message of them showing up there wearing ties, and that we don't say in public that the Ukraine should win this war, our politicians do. I'm against all that, and I'm for all the support against that Ukraine can do. That's just my personal politics, just to be clear, because sometimes, when I play the side of, defending the FIDE administration against Peter here has nothing to do with my views on that, where I'm... I just want to get it out of the way, because I think it's important. Where I'm still struggling, like, my personal opinion once again, and I don't know Djokovic very well, I think he's a capable guy. I think the things he's organized to, from what I've seen, they've gone well. I think he's been good for FIDE. And what I always struggle to, differentiate in my head is how much do we hold him being Russian and obviously his ties to the Russian government in the past. I don't know how strong they are in the present against him, both in the context of FIDE, if we think, which I think overall, that he's been a good leader, and if that's morally wrong to have people involved with Russian sponsors, Russian government in the past in positions that I think, when one could debate that, I'm sure Peter sees it differently, could still be beneficial for world chess. And I don't have a very clear answer. I read the interview, of course, he has to dance the line. He can't be very openly anti-Russia and against anti-war. And Peter will say that's exactly the problem. He has to please both sides. I don't know. I keep thinking about it. I don't have a very strong answer or position.
I very much agree with you that this is a very relevant debate. For instance, I think one of the headlines of the interview is that he was pressurized for two sides. Well, that's actually against the FIDE regulations, I think. A president of FIDE doesn't have two sides. He has one side, and that's chess. And that's, of course, some of the thing we think has to change. That a FIDE president cannot have two considerations. He can only have one, and that's the one for chess. Well, I get your point. Well, also that, no, of course, Djokovic has done some good things. I also think he's done some bad things, but let's leave that aside. But I also think that in 2018, it was a reasonable discussion. Could we have someone who's portraying himself as a moderate Russian politician who's trying to drag Russia towards the West as our leader? I mean, that was how your own government and many other governments saw it at the time and such. These things has unfortunately changed, because right now we see that this strategy has completely failed and such. Also, we try to portray Djokovic as a moderate, or especially that's what FIDE would do on himself. But it's lack of knowledge. I mean, if you actually, one big problematic is that in English you will see very moderate and pro-Western statements from Djokovic. While if you go back and look at things in Russian, they are very harsh. I mean, you can see thinks about Ukraine in 2015, where he will say that, the US is making fake satellite things, that the Crimea was not annexed, that it was actually, done there because of a vote. You can say that there's no Russian troops in Ukraine. It's all separatists who wants to fight for the freedom and such. I mean, has been very much supportive of these kind of myths that has led to this complete tragedy. So, in my opinion, it's morally wrong. But I think the relevant discussion is it good for chess? And, I don't think it's good for chess having a leader with that past. I think it's will lead to less sponsorship and that, for instance, and such. And, I think also it will lead us stuck in a world where chess is very much dominated by political interest. And I think it's very important to be completely free of political interest.
I would like to jump in, actually. Can I?
Wow.
I actually agree with Jan, and I'm thinking about it. And the more I think about Djokovic, the less I'm impressed, because he doesn't want to debate, first of all. Then he's making this interview where it's clear that you're right, Peter. I mean, there is no harsh questions. So basically he's choosing his journalist, which I don't like. All these trips, Sutovsky on Twitter. I mean, the whole picture, when you look at it, I mean, it looks like he's using method of another century, of another world, let's say. It's not, there's no, I will please Peter here, but there's no transparency, which I don't like. And it's true that he organized a lot of tournaments in Russia with Russian money, and it's clear that, we cannot, I mean, there's no way the Russian money will be used in the future. I mean, like, at least let's say the for next year. So maybe it's just useless, actually, even for chess. I mean, I don't see what is he bringing. I mean, here the sponsor is chess.com, but for the candidates or the Scheinberg family, I mean, like, but anyone, I mean, even Peter would manage that. I'm sorry, Peter, but I mean, anyone who would manage to get chess.com as a sponsor. I mean, because they are very interested in chess, simply, and it's their job, to pay for that.
No, I think other things aside, there's also the question I've been asking myself, and I don't have a clear answer. Let's say the team Barış Nielsen wins the election. Is that better for chess? Do they have a better chance to bring in sponsors than
I don't think it can be
team?
Actually,
and I do not know.
I do not know, but it cannot be.
Well, I would argue that
I don't think it can be worse, actually.
Yeah. Well, also, let's just answer this one. I mean, FIDE says that the sponsorships for all the upcoming events are there, so we will have the same sponsors as they do now. The question is, who has the best chances of getting new sponsors in with the current situation? I think Barış has better chances than Djokovic.
I don't know. Obviously,
that's my opinion.
You would have that opinion. Yep. I don't have a clear one. Like
that's my job. I agree.
Yeah, I don't see Djokovic as negatively, and blaming him for not debating, but then also blaming him for campaigning. Like. I think he's been doing a responsible job on the things. Of course, he is Russian and does have the past. I don't want to campaign for him. Just my personal view on him hasn't been that negative, and it's more this broader moral question, which to me is not only about FIDE. It's not my battle, but do you work with Russians, and where is it wrong? Like, how strong a stance do you want people to take, like, where the line often gets very blurry for me. That's why, I don't give strong statements there.
I think that Jan is speaking the opinion of many in the chess world, that generally, that he's been a decently popular president, which of course is not that difficult perhaps compared to the previous one, at least in his later year of his rule and such. But also, I mean, I think more than, I don't know which percentage it is now, but like, let's say 90% of Djokovic's time has been at a time where we had direct access to a bunch of Russian money. That is going to stop now. So the relevant thing is to talk about what's going to happen in the future.
No, for sure. That's the question I said. Does the current team have better chances or in connections to secure sponsorship, or let's say your team or Kowalczyk?
And
maybe it's Bashar.
And
Just to annoy Laurent.
yeah, and
fullest.
of course it's up to our job to sort of make it, to convince not just the public, but also the delegates that yes, we are capable of doing that. And that, of course, also is why we are looking for very credible sort of financial advisors.
No, there's
with
also, of course,
experience.
not just about sponsorship,
That's part-
but running events, like moving them at short notice and so on. Like, I do think there's stuff to do in FIDE.
I understand.
Anyway,
Fair
Laurent has a date, so we have to get
Yeah, no,
going.
but I have to go. Yeah, I have to go.
Do we
I
have
had to go like
some-
10 minutes ago, but okay.
Some fun Twitter questions. Which one do you want?
Oof,
We do.
I don't know. We talked about that.
When the movie is made about the chicken chess club,
you
as it certainly will be, which actor would you want to play you? And
I
who
know.
would play Anish Giri?
I
For
mean,
me, it's tough. Like, maybe Ryan Gosling can do it when he's done with playing Ken in Barbie. A younger Brad Pitt, I could see.
me, of course, I
would
will.
Yeah.
Mathieu Kaye for...
I will give credit to my reputation. Of course, name a French actor,
Of course. Mathieu Kassovitz.
Romain Duris, which you don't know, but
famous
you will
guy.
have to Google him. So Romain Duris will play my role, of course. Peter?
I'm struggling to find out which character from Moneyball I want to include, but it's going to be from there, obviously.
The Jonah Hill
yeah.
character from Moneyball,
I
that's
don't
who you
know.
want?
Isn't it Peter Brand? Oh, no. Sort of-
Jonah Hill is the
cool-
nerdy
and
guy
he-
in the office who discovers it first. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. No, I don't know. I haven't thought much about movies. Yeah, I have to admit that the most movies I see is for kids.
What are you
right now,
watching?
so
You
that's
seen
gonna be- I
Encanto?
don't know.
Encanto is great.
No, actually, I see Danish. Actually, yeah, no, I see a lot of it's called Checkered Ninja. It's a sort of a ninja doll who goes to Thailand and fight all
sounds
the
excellent.
evil there. You wouldn't like it. Yeah, exactly. No, you should see it. Unfortunately, it's but your kids understands Norwegian. Of course, you have to see Tannet
Right,
Ninja.
we're on it.
Yeah. You see, you learned something on
Finally,
this,
useful
on this
information.
episode. Yeah, yeah. It took a while. Anyway, some other questions. No. Okay, no. These are the
Actually,
questions
we
we have
should.
here from our
I think
producer. It's
today
serious. I don't-
is the
I don't
recording.
really-
It's the birthday of
Yeah.
Anish Giri.
It's Anish's birthday at the time of recording. Happy 28th
Wow.
birthday.
He's 28. You even know.
Shall we
his,
ma-
how
Of
this-
course, he's born in 94.
No.
Shall we name
I
him
will
Chicken of
actually
the
not
Week in his
nominate
honor
him
as
as
it's his birthday?
No, I will not do that.
I will
not
do it.
that.
I will do it. I don't have any chickens, and it's
you'll do
chicken
it,
by
okay.
default, as we already agreed. So Anish, you are becoming a old chicken.
Yeah. Okay. I will nominate Emil Sutovsky. Who would
For chickening out
I would say
of
that.
debating you, which he's not supposed to do because it's against the rules.
That exactly. No, my point is that when you suggest 6 dates and he says no to all of them, if he was an actual date, I think at this
That's
point
how
I would
my-
probably get the hint and stop
This-
pursuing.
This is normal
Pursuing.
in my life.
Maybe
I'm
Laurent has
always
more
suggesting
experience.
6 dates and
Yeah.
to say no to all of them.
They
Maybe
say no.
it's and then I think they don't want to see me.
And then you give. Okay. Yeah, that can happen. Jan, chicken.
No,
of the week.
we can do
You're the
the
tiebreaker.
Anish honorary. In the candidates, there hasn't been a lot of chicken honors. Like Rajabov had his moments
No.
for chickenness, but nothing special. Rapport he's broken all the rules of
actually-
the chicken chess club. That was so upsetting when he didn't repeat moves. You're worse, you're down an hour, and you don't repeat moves like a normal person, like a normal chicken. That was so upsetting to me. I take back the normal person,
chicken,
like we
it's of
command his
course-
fighting spirit. But for chicken, that was very painful to watch.
Yeah, that was.
As a chicken, it's sad, but it does exemplify that when there's enough of stake, they start acting like real sportsperson and doesn't care too much about rating and such. That's
Yeah,
actually
no,
a
and
cool
he
thing
did
with
play for
candidates,
first, and he
that-
really wanted to win. So it's
Yeah.
impressive, but it was
Yeah,
heartbreaking
Mm-hmm.
for chicken.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
2 little chickens. Anyway. Should we end on that sad note, or someone has a final remark?
Kensuda somos.
Soon as almost, indeed.
Bye, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.